newspaper today. Now read Ocala Downtown Newspaper online.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I want to open up the phone lines and talk about the circumstances, situation in Iraq. And so if you want to participate in the show, give me a chance to start the conversation, and then I'll let you pretty much take over. The phone number you'll need to call is 622-WOCA, 622-9622. I guess there's some debate in here, but I'm just mostly kind of just going over some of these stories. There are so many stories, and obviously we are having some heavy hitters in our country saying we have to hurry. First of all, you need to know what the acronym ISIS is. ISIS. The news media has a tendency to come up with a new acronym or a new word even, and it may not be new to them, so they think it's common knowledge for the rest of us.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But when I see ISIS, I honestly couldn't have told you that it was the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria.
No.
Some of you may have known that, but I did not know that. I had to look it up. It's in most of the stories. They are, and the news media is doing a good job of telling what ISIS stands for. Mm-hmm. But anyway, I want you to know that when I say ISIS during the course of this 25-minute chat, mm-hmm. that's what I'm referring to. There's a statement from Illinois Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger. We'll start with his quote. He says, the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, also known by its acronym of ISIS, makes Al-Qaeda look like a bunch of kitty cats.
Gosh.
He says it's in the best interest of the United States to stop the militant group's activities in Iraq. Mm. We left them to fend for themselves. I don't think they're fending for themselves very well.
No.
Or you could wonder, are we being manipulated? You could wonder that too. The Reuters news agency has this story. Actually, all the news agencies have this one. The United States is contemplating talks with our arch enemy, Iran, to support the Iraqi government in a battle with the Sunni Islamist insurgents who routed Baghdad's army and seized the north of the country in the past week. How many Marines were being sent over there? Was it 100?
Yeah.
We had that story just a little while ago. Let me backtrack a little bit on my computer.
There are still troops over there because there are still American contractors working over there in Baghdad and in the cities that spiral out from Baghdad. So there are still U.S. troops there.
CNN and the Wall Street Journal both reported this morning that the U.S. and Iran dialogue is expected to begin this week and will mark the latest in a rapid move toward rapprochement between Washington and Tehran over the past year. The stunning onslaught by militants of ISIS and the Levant threatens to dismember Iraq and unleash an all-out sectarian warfare across a crescent of the Middle East with no regard for national borders that the fighters reject. Some people, by the way, are saying we'd be better off if Saddam Hussein was never taken out. Some mm-hmm. people say while he may have been developing into the next Hitler, it would have been better to keep him there. I don't know. That's a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Huh. Another heavy hitter, Newt Gingrich, says the United States must begin airstrikes immediately in Iraq to stem the uprising by Sunni militants and to prevent Iran from gaining a foothold in the region. So I imagine that he's not in favor of teaming up with our arch rival, Iran.
Yeah, because they're going to turn around and bite the U.S. in the back.
The Sunni militants of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, also ISIS, have made huge gains in the Sunni heartland north of Baghdad, as you know. Okay, so here's the quote from, this is the show Crossfire from yesterday, and here's the statement from Newt Gingrich.
President Bush's strategy in Iraq was wrong in many ways. Disbanding the Iraqi army, trying to reorganize from the ground up, set the Sunnis against the Shia. And President Obama's strategy in Iraq has been wrong in almost every way. Caution cannot become disengagement because our enemies fill the vacuum. And as we just heard, ISIS fighters are capturing more and more Iraqi cities. So we have no choice at this point. The United States must quickly begin airstrikes. The alternative is to accept that Iran will come marching in, and Iran will end up dominating both Iraq and Syria. We need a new strategy that is not benign neglect.
So that was Newt Gingrich on Crossfire yesterday. There was another story, and then we'll go to the phones. If you want to call in, the number is 622-9622. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. The future leader of the militant army sweeping through Iraq had some chilling words for his guards in 2009 when he was released from Camp WOCA, the largest U.S. detention camp in Iraq. At that time, and I guess nobody took him seriously, he said, "I'll see you guys in New York."
Oh, gee. Oh.
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi's words, I guess that's his name, were not really taken as a threat. Army Colonel Kenneth King, the then commander of the internment camp, told the Daily Beast, because al-Baghdadi knew most of his captors were from New York. Most of the reservists were the 306 Military Police Battalion based on Long Island and were drawn from New York police or fire departments. In addition, the camp was named for New York Fire Department Fire Marshal Ronald Bucca, who was killed at the World Trade Center on September 11, 2001. But King said he was surprised to learn that al-Baghdadi was the leader of the extremist army threatening to overrun Baghdad now.
Oh, gee.
And as you know, this morning we had that story about the Marines being sent to Baghdad to try to hold them off. The country is a mess. There's a photo circulating on the internet that is captioned with this. It says, "The image verified by the Associated Press shows the ISIS militants taking aim at captured Iraqi soldiers after taking over a base in Tikrit, Iraq." And it shows on the left side of the picture a lineup of ISIS soldiers with weapons, and on the right, laying down on the ground as if they're being preparing to die, are the soldiers that were supposed to be protecting Iraq.
Yep, everybody's laughing at the U.S.
The U.S. has evacuated $750 million the embassy in Baghdad. The Navy ship with 550 Marines is moving into the Gulf. Lots of stuff happening over there that we need to be paying attention to. And so I want you to call in. Let me know what you think about them. Let's take the first call. Somebody's waiting patiently. Thank you for doing that, for waiting patiently. What do you think about this story? You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry. Robert. Nothing new. It's been known that the no-goodniks over there wanted to rebuild and revive the old Persian Empire. And that means consolidating the various countries into one Persian or Muslim state. And the fact that they're doing this in such a terroristic manner is only proof that this has been planned out, and that they feel that the people who want to defend them say they don't want to die of a cruel, long, drawn-out death, which a lot of these crazies are famous for. And right now, nobody's standing up to them that I can see. And if these people can't defend themselves, well, I don't know, maybe Persian Empire won't be so bad. You'll be dealing with one bad entity, not a whole gang of them. That's about the only thing I can say about it. It's a good thing that this country's pretty well energy independent, and it's a shame we haven't got that oil pipeline yet. But just look at the staff on the president's personal advisors list. Every one of them has a Middle Eastern last name. So I don't know. We couldn't see this coming.
All right, Sonny, thank you. I appreciate your thoughts. Yeah, I think you're kind of share the thoughts of a lot of people out there. If you want to call and express your thoughts on the circumstances, the situation in Iraq, let me know. 622-9622. Good morning. You're on the air.
Hello, this is Chris.
Hi, Chris.
This is the first time I've ever called you guys. I wanted to let you know that I really enjoy listening to you.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I find this circumstance to be completely predictable, sadly to say. But I could have predicted this 10 years ago. We do not win wars in this country anymore, and the reason that we do not win wars, and we probably will not win wars in the foreseeable future, is that we do not have the political will or the social will to win a war. The way to win a war is to destroy the enemy, and that includes masses and masses of civilians. This is how we defeated Germany and Japan. We cannot half-heartedly, fight people. If we're going to go in with that attitude, we might as well just stay home. And I know it's a horrible thing, but that is how you win wars.
Well, and that's how they're going to try to win the war, too. I mean, that's how they're going to fight against us, too. It sounds like he disconnected, but thank you for the call.
Yeah, good point.
And I don't like the idea. I do not. I mean, I know it goes against what he's saying. I don't disagree, though, with what he's saying. I just don't like what he's saying. It's true, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
In other words, I don't want to have any child or any civilian, for that matter, dead. Any innocent person, somebody who's just trying to earn a living in their own country. But that is exactly the strategy that any enemy would use against us.
Exactly.
They I said this when September 11th happened, when they were saying who were they targeting, and I said to whoever I was talking to that day, they were targeting you. And he said, I was here in Florida. I wasn't even up there. And I said, they didn't know that. Did they call ahead, those pilots in those planes? Did they say, hey, before we hit the plane, before we hit those buildings, is Larry Whitler in there? Mm-hmm. Because if he is, I'm going to stay away for a little while. Let him get out of there. No, if I was in there, they would have killed me too.
Exactly.
That's and the caller's point, obviously, they don't mind killing us.
No, we need to go in there.
I don't know. I have a hard time with that, to be honest with you. Maybe I'm a little soft-hearted. I don't know. Good morning. What do you think?
Well, I think what's happening in Iraq right now is a real tragedy, and there's going to be a tremendous amount of human suffering. And the basic problem is the government that we installed is Shiite and pro-Iranian, and the rest of the people are Sunnis. The two different branches of Islam, Sunni and Shiite, and the Sunnis are not willing to fight and die to protect the Shiite government. That's what it all boils down to. But 10 years ago, I was calling radio stations and defending Bush and his policy in Iraq. But now, I'm willing to admit I was wrong. We should have never gone in there. It was a terrible mistake. And God bless the men and women who went over there and fought and sacrificed for our country. But my opinion is we don't need to do anything right now except get our people out of there. We've already squandered billions and billions of dollars in there. We need to get our people out of there. We can't get the money back, but we can get the people out. We need to get our people out of there. Don't send troops in there, and just let these people slug it out amongst themselves.
Well, I thought that too. I thought that part too. Yeah.
Good way too. Just forget about it.
It's hard.
I hate to admit I was wrong because I always think I'm so smart, but on this one, 10 years ago I was wrong. We should not have gone in there, and I know that's not a popular opinion, especially with this audience. But I'll hang up now and let someone else talk. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Pete. And just this is not my thought. This is Newt Gingrich's thought. This is what he said on Crossfire. I do not have the soundbite. I wish I did. Now that Pete brought that up. But Newt Gingrich's statement yesterday, that I'm paraphrasing, was the world is a better place without Saddam Hussein, implying that he would have built up to the point where he would have been a real threat, a real organized threat. A real organized threat. Not that these guys aren't. These ISIS guys are not organized, but they're not as organized as a government-supported army would have been.
Yeah, but I think they're getting there. If we just need to.
So here's the scary part. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Mike Rogers warned yesterday that if the militants taking control of a vast swath of Syria and Iraq are not stopped, they will bring the battle to America and to Europe.
Yeah.
Mike Rogers says this is as dangerous as it gets. He made that statement on Fox News Sunday yesterday, saying that the members of the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, again often referred to in the news as ISIS, are not mere monkey bar terrorists training in the desert for a small-scale attack. They are seasoned combat veterans and will strike New York City or Washington, D.C. if given the chance.
Yeah, because before Pearl Harbor, the U.S. government was complacent. They didn't want to help out over there. And then 9/11 happened, and U.S. can't be complacent anymore. We have to show that we're a strong country, and we're not going to take any crap from anybody.
So if there's another airplane aimed at another skyscraper building, and we know that that airplane is filled with passengers, American passengers, who boarded the plane in Boston or somewhere else, do we shoot the plane out of the air?
If we know for sure.
Yeah. But would you know for sure? How would you ever be able to prove that? This is what I think our military on September 11th, 2001 had to face. They had to face this. If we shoot those planes out of the air, and then we say we had to do it because they were aimed at the World Trade Center, nobody is going to buy that. I don't know. I think I've often wondered if that was the conversation that took place. If we shoot them out of the air, how will we ever explain it to the American people?
Yeah, that's why we got to nip it in the bud now. We can't wait for them to come back over here and attack the United States again on our own soil.
And quit complaining about the security at the airports, because that's going to help stop that from happening.
Exactly.
And just go through that ritual. Let me go back to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry. You're exactly right in terms of whether or not we shot those planes. You would never be able to convince the American people that these guys were going to crash those planes into the towers or even the Pentagon, because we are so convinced on conspiracy theories and those types of things until we never would have believed it. The other thing is this: the situation in Iraq is very complicated. Mainly, I mean, not only because of the aspect of just the war itself, but they have the second largest oil deposit in the world. And it would be catastrophic in terms of our energy if, God forbid, if ISIS or somebody or Iran, which is playing an important role in Iraq. What we basically did in Iraq, we set up al-Maliki. We set this guy up, and this guy was double-dealing us to begin with. He was supposed to set up coalitions with with the Kurds and the Sunnis, as well as, his group, the Shias. And he decided that he was just going to, take power and do what he wanted to do after we've lost, 4,500 American lives, as well as trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars over there. We put the wrong, we did something that we often do. We put the wrong guy in, and now we're basically stuck because of the military position that they're in, as well as the financial position that we're in. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't over there, and it's ironic that we find ourselves almost on the same size as the Iranians, because the Iranians, they already have troops over there. But this guy is bad business. He's bad news. He's been in 2 terms. They really need to get rid of him anyway. I mean, he's been bad news for us from the beginning. people say, well, why we didn't have troops still over there? Well, we didn't have troops left over there because he told us to get out. Now he needs us.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a tough situation. Yeah,
it's a very tough situation. It's not as simple as people would think. It's just one thing I can say for sure. We don't need to shed any more American blood over there. We just, maybe they can do some airstrikes, but I'm totally against shedding any more American blood over there. Have a good one.
Me too. Thank you.
When a loving parent brings up a child, they teach that child to stand up on their own 2 feet and depend on themselves. So that's what America should do. We should grow up. We should just concentrate about getting the oil from America with the pipeline. Sure, there's going to be outcry by the environmentalists and things, but that'll get the U.S. off of dependence over there, and nobody will have anything to hang over the heads of the United States. My opinion.
Another voice that I wanted to bring up real quickly is Senator John McCain. He says the United States needs to begin airstrikes on Iraq right away.
There you go.
That was his statement there. All right,
there you go.
Let me go back to the phone. If you want to comment on this, the number is 622-WOCA. We've got about 3 minutes left. Good morning. You're on the air.
It's Sonny calling back again. If you really look back at history, the last war this country ever won was World War II. Ever since then, it's always been appeasement. The Korean conflict was called a police action. It wasn't even called a war. And what did we do? We chased the North Koreans and the communists up into China. And then we ran back to the 38th parallel for the losers to take over. So, we never learn our lessons, i.e. the immigration reform bill that was signed into law. I'm going to emphasize that law in 1986. Both parties in both houses ignored it. We naturalized or made 11 million illegals legal, and they threw that under the bus.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a tangent, though. I appreciate the thought. The thing is this, that in a short period of time for the radio broadcast, I like to stick to the question at hand. So anyway, that's what's going on. And if you are aware of the other story out of Nairobi, Kenya, where dozens of extremists attacked the Kenyan coastal town, where they killed 48 people. Was that the story this morning, Robin?
Yeah, there's
48 and they gave them a religious test, and if they couldn't answer to the satisfaction of the attackers to prove that they were Muslim, then they are not alive anymore.
Yeah.
There was one resident, John Wariru, who said that 2 brothers were killed because the attackers did not like that the brothers did not speak Somali. There was another lady who said her husband was killed. Oh, I don't have it in front of me to quote it, but anyway, he was killed because he said he was Christian.
Yes.
Just so you know. All right, and that's their mindset. That's the way they think. All right, well, thank you. We'll be back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. The militant group ISIS has captured another town in northern Iraq, Tal Afar.
This following unconfirmed reports the insurgents have killed 1,700 Iraqi soldiers in Saddam Hussein's hometown, Tikrit. The head of the UN, Ban Ki-moon, calling that deeply disturbing. Iraq says it has recaptured some towns north of Baghdad.
Fox Radio's Simon Owen. The U.S. is beefing up security at its embassy in Baghdad. Lawyers for ex-New England Patriot Aaron Hernandez expected to ask a judge today to dismiss his murder charge in the killing of Odin Lloyd, claiming prosecutors haven't shown probable cause. Fans of the San Antonio Spurs are celebrating.
I feel great. I'm so glad that the Spurs won. I'm a true fan. We're at every game. We hold it down.
The Spurs are NBA champs after beating Miami last night, 104-87, taking the best of 7 series in 5 games. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
I stopped seeing life insurance as something only rich people needed after my brother-in-law died. On top of really missing him, I watched my sister struggle to keep up with their mortgage, car payments, and everyday living expenses for her and the kids. I realized then that life insurance isn't just for millionaires. It's for anyone who has people in their lives who depend on them to get by. It's to help everyday people help protect their families, people like me. So I called AIG Direct, and I was shocked at how affordable coverage can be. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. I may not have $1 million, but my family's well-being and happiness is priceless. I'm glad I have AIG Direct to help protect their future, no matter what happens to me.
Call AIG Direct right now for a free, no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes and you can save up to 70%. Call now, 1-800-895-2949. That's 1-800-895-2949. 1-800-895.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. If this had been an actual emergency, such as a hurricane or tornado, official messages would have followed the alert tones. WOCA serves the Marion County area. This concludes the test of the emergency alert system.
Like it or not, springtime is just around the corner, and so is spring cleaning and those winter projects you've been putting off. But don't worry, Sunbelt Rentals is here to make your job a little easier. Our knowledgeable staff will help you find the right equipment for any job, big or small. Did you know that Sunbelt Rentals carries heaters, air conditioners, generators, lighting, traffic control, and so much more? So whether you're building it up or knocking it down, we've got the equipment you need. Get it done, rent it now. And right now, for a limited time, you can have it for less. Just by mentioning this ad, if you rent it Friday afternoon, you can keep it the whole weekend and only pay for 1 day. But this is a limited time offer, so stop into Sunbelt Rentals today, Northwest 27th, just a quarter mile east of I-75. For more information, just give us a call, 352-369-9101. 352-369-9101. Sunbelt Rentals. Get it done, rent it now.
Now is the time to take advantage of Florida Credit Union's CD specials. Our 36-month CD comes in at 1.26% APY. A 24-month is working for you at 1.0% APY. And our 12-month at 0.75% APY. All CD rate specials require $10,000 minimum. With friendly service and rates like these, it's not hard to see why Florida Credit Union has your CD options covered. Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life. Call 352-237-8222 for more information. Must act by 1/15/14.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John Fuller, right here on WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM, The Source.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. And she's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
Are you tired of not using your home's outdoor space for entertaining or relaxation because of all the bugs and leaves? Consider adding a beautiful screen room or glass enclosure. We are Superior Aluminum and Design, a family-owned and operated business with 20 years experience in the aluminum industry, and we are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. If you appreciate superior workmanship, call Superior Aluminum and Design at 817-8058 or visit us on the web at superiораluminumdesign.com.
Ocala Comic Con, June 28th and 29th. Ocala Comic Con, the place